Don't worry. The Queen of England is okay. She's all right. For those panicking, don't worry. She's all right. She wasn't there this morning laying the wreath, but I have it on good authority that she is all right. Here we go then. Oh my goodness, we are back together. Hello everyone. We are here once more on a rather murky day. It looks very strange today. I will be honest with you. The weather is rather murky, cloudy. We had a lot of mist. It was very foggy this morning. Here we go again. Yes, it is English Addict coming to you live from the birthplace of English, which of course is England, as usual. Dibby-dibby-dee. Oh. Oh. I don't know why I look so surprised, because I knew you were going to be there. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you feeling happy? I hope you are feeling very happy today, because we are going to have some fun today. I hope you are in the mood to have some fun, because today we are having fun. That is one of the topics we are discussing right here on the live chat. Very nice to see you back. My name is Mr. Duncan. I talk about the English language. I love English. I like English very much. You might say that I am an English addict, because I'm crazy about English. I love English so much I wish I could marry it. Unfortunately, at the moment, the law of this land does not allow it. I would love to curl up in bed with some lovely vowels and some nice consonants. I would like to roll around between the sheets with all those wonderful words. Wouldn't that be nice? So I hope you're feeling happy and wonderful and marvellous and good today, because hopefully we will have a fun time. That's what I'm hoping anyway. I'm going to make a promise right now. I'm going to promise one thing today. I'm going to be kind to Mr. Steve. I'm going to hold my hand up and say, I promise, Mr. Duncan, that's me by the way, I promise that I will be nice to Mr. Steve today, which means no teasing. I'm not going to make any rude comments about Mr. Steve, however tempting it may be. If something is tempting, something that is tempting, something that is luring you towards it, something that is hard to resist doing or maybe having, something very tempting, maybe a cake. Maybe in the window you see a beautiful cream cake. You might say that that particular thing is tempting. It is luring you towards it. You really want to have it. So I'm not going to be rude to Mr. Steve, I promise. I've had complaints, you see, about my treatment of Mr. Steve. Please, can you stop teasing Mr. Steve? Can you please stop being so mean to Steve? So today, just for you, for all those complaining and worrying about Mr. Steve, I promise today I will not be rude or sarcastic at all. Well, we have made it to the end of another weekend and almost halfway through this month already. I can't believe it. Where has November gone? It was only October last week, and now already we are halfway through November. Yes, it is Sunday. Sunday, everyone. Are you feeling good today? I hope so. I hope you are having a wonderful day, because we are here again. What an interesting week it has been here in England. Some rather strange things happening. Of course, we came to the end of the big environmental summit, which everyone has been talking about for the past 1.5 weeks. And what has been decided? Very little. Apparently, very little will be changing. We have agreed to agree to agree to agree to maybe make some agreements on the agreements that we've already made, perhaps. So that's it. The upshot of the whole of the COP26 meeting, summit, call it what you want, is pretty much nothing. Isn't that nice? What a waste of time that was. I think Greta Thunberg was right. I don't often agree with her, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I nod my head in agreement. And Greta was not feeling very happy about COP26. She was saying it was all just blah, blah, blah.
How dare you?
That's what she said. She said blah, 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 and then she said, how dare you? And then she stropped off. If you strop off, you leave in a bad mood. You walk off in anger. You feel annoyed. You go off in a strop. I like that word. Here we are then, yes. Oh, by the way, can I just say there are live captions if you want to see what I'm saying on the screen with the writing at the bottom of the screen under there. There it is, under there. If you want to activate the captions, you can. We have live captions. They have returned. Isn't that nice? Yay! Talking of applause, I wonder who was first on today's live chat. Oh, very interesting. Hello, Mosen. Guess what? You were first on today's live chat. Congratulations, Mosen. Thank you, Mosen, for joining us today. You were first on the live chat. We also have Vitas, second place. Sorry about that, Vitas. Also Palmyra, Beatrice, Christina, Rami, Marialba. Hello, Marialba. Nice to see you here as well. We are in a good mood today. As you can see from my smile, I have my lovely big smiley face. We are talking about having fun. We are asking questions as well to you about fun. Perhaps there is a memory that you have in your mind about a moment from your past that was really fun. Something that was enjoyable. Something that was amazing. An amazing experience. An amazing moment of time where you really had lots of fun. Because that's what we're talking about today. If my mouth works, which would be ever so nice. Mr. Steve is in the garden at the moment. He's very busy outside doing lots of things. So Steve is outside right now, very busy, cutting his bushes. Something that we might be talking about a little bit later on. Oh, look at that. Today we have lots of autumn colour. Even though the weather is not very nice, we don't have much sunshine, but we do have a lot of autumn colour today. Would you like to see some more? Because you know I love autumn. I like the month of autumn. I like the season of autumn. We often think of November as the season where autumn and winter mix together. So I often associate autumn with November. So late October and also November is when I think autumn. actually takes place. But it's looking lovely out there today. It is a very nice day here today, and I hope you are having a good time as well. So the live chat is now up and running. If you want to get involved, you can. You can leave your messages on the live chat. Hello also to Beatrice again. Also Duong Dai. Hello to you. Also Zudzika, Willian. I'm just looking at the live chat. Oh, hello, Udom. Udom is here as well. One of my lovely regular viewers watching in Thailand. Very nice to see you as well. Ooh, it's a busy one already. I'm having difficulty keeping up with all of the messages already on the live chat. Nice to see you back. Today is a solemn day. It is a slightly sad and, I suppose, serious day because we have had Remembrance Sunday today, something that happens every year. Well, of course, on the 11th of November, we always remember the ending of the First World War, Armistice Day, and then we often commemorate all those who died in the various wars that have taken place over recent history. And some might say, sadly, there have been many of those incidents. So today, as a way of marking Remembrance Sunday, lots of people laid tributes and wreaths to remember those who fell during not just the First World War or even the Second World War, but all wars. And here in Much Wenlock, lots of small crosses with the names of those who lost their lives. And also there were some wreaths laid as well, right here in Much Wenlock town centre. And there you can see the wreaths that were laid this morning, remembering all those who lost their lives in wars here and also overseas as well. A rather sombre morning. And of course, a lot of people were wondering where the Queen was this morning, because the Queen was supposed to be there in London laying her wreath. However, at the last moment, she decided not to go. Apparently, she has sprained her back. I don't know how you do that. Maybe she was lifting something heavy. Maybe she was running up the stairs in Buckingham Palace, perhaps. I don't know. But the Queen was not there this morning, causing lots of people once again to become concerned. A lot of people here asking, Mr. Duncan, is the Queen okay? We've heard that the Queen is ill. Well, she is old. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way, but the Queen of England is in her mid-90s. So I suppose when you reach the age of 95, I think you are able sometimes to take it easy. I think so. So that's the reason why she is doing that. Thanks for your nice comments. Yes, a rather sombre mood this morning, where people are remembering those who died in all wars. When will we ever learn? That's what I've got to say about that. From something sombre to something fun, I thought today we would look at fun things. And you know I like to have fun here on the live stream. I love to have fun, and I have a feeling you do as well. As does Mr. Steve. Oh, sometimes that Mr. Steve can be very silly. Do-do-do. Yes, he will be here. Mr. Steve will be here in a few moments' time, don't worry. We are having fun today. I couldn't resist doing it. I was thinking of all the fun things I've done in my life, and I have to say, quite a few of them involve doing this. Because I love doing this, and that's one of the reasons why I like doing my live streams. My live streams have been around for 5 years. However, my teaching here on YouTube has been around for over 15 years, which seems incredible, really, when you think about it. Thank you, Mr. Duncan, for showing us the remembrance service or the remembrance tributes in Much Wenlock. That's okay. Hello, Marwa. Oh, I have a feeling that Marwa would like an echo. Marwa, 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 Marwa. Marwa. Welcome. You see, I never forget these things. I sometimes forget, but for most of the time, I do remember that you like to have the echo on your name. Hello also, Tomek. Tomek is here. Tomek is here now. We're all excited about that. Oh, here's an interesting question. Mr. Duncan, I am Asha from India. Will you please tell me whether your videos, making your videos, is it your hobby or your profession? I always wait for your videos. To be honest with you, my profession was teaching English as a second language. I was working abroad. Then I came back after beginning my YouTube channel in the place where I was working, which was China. So I was living in China. Then I came back here and I continued with my video making. However, this became a big thing in my life. So I carried on doing this. In fact, I spend more time doing all of this than anything else in my life now. So it has become a profession. However, I don't earn a regular salary. So if I was working at a school, if I was working for a company, I would get a nice salary every month. However, doing this, I have to make some sacrifices, and one of them is having a regular salary. So I don't earn a regular salary, even though YouTube does pay me a little. I do receive a little bit of payment every month for my videos, but it's not much, I will be honest with you. But I would describe this as a joyous hobby. I enjoy doing it. I have lots of fun doing this. So I hope that answers your question. But I suppose it is my profession. But to say that I am successful at doing it as far as earning a salary is concerned, then I would be lying if I said that. But still, I love it. I love doing this. I want to do this forever until I die. Is that okay? I hope so. I hope that answers your question. Hello also to Giuseppina. Hello, Giuseppina. I like your name, by the way. It's a very interesting name. I wonder what your name sounds like with my echo. Giuseppina. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. That's very nice. I like that very much. Oh, we also have Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you here today. We are talking about war at the moment on the live chat. Hello, everyone. Yes, it is Remembrance Sunday. Yes, we always remember the bad outcomes of wars, but at times we are carrying out the same thing all the time. There are lots of hypocrites around. It is strange when you start thinking about these things. These are big topics, by the way, very big topics. Some people have strong opinions about whether or not wars should take place or whether a certain country should get involved in another person's war. I'm sure we can all think of lots of moments of time where that has happened, where one country, no, I'm not going to say the USA, but I am going to say the USA, sometimes gets involved with other people's wars. And it has happened. And Britain, of course, I'm not forgetting us. We also have got involved with other people's wars. And also we've had moments where we've had no choice. We've had no choice but to become involved in war. So it does happen sometimes. War can be offensive or defensive. So war is a very strange thing. You might find that war occurs because one person is defending themselves and another person is attacking. There are at least two very good examples of that. So it's a big subject, and I suppose those who want peace in the world are also those who are supplying or selling weapons of mass destruction, namely the USA and also Britain. So it does seem strange. It's a very strange situation when we are often saying that things that are bad or things that we look down on are the things we are doing ourselves. And that is what a hypocrite is. Hello, Saturino. Nice to see you here today. Hello also, Easyback. Hello, Easyback. Easyback is here today. I have just joined in your live chat. Thank you very much for joining me today. Very nice to see you here. We have Mr. Steve coming very soon. We are talking about having fun. We are also going to talk about the differences between the word sip and slurp. I will be giving you a very vivid demonstration of the differences between those two words and actions. All of that coming up later on, but first we are going to take a short break and we're going to have a look at one of my full English lessons. This is an excerpt taken from Full English number 34. Then after this, we have Mr. Steve right here live in the studio. And I promise today I will be lovely and kind to him.
Oh, look at me. I'm really going up in the world today. I'm climbing the ladder of success. I'm heading to the top. You might describe me as a social climber. Let's just hope I don't slide back down to the bottom again, or even worse, fall head first. Hi everybody and welcome to another Full English lesson. I'm really enjoying the view from up here. Can you see me waving to you? I hope so. Here I am once more talking to you from the birthplace of the English language, which is of course England. So without any more dawdling or dilly-dallying, let's get on with today's Full English lesson, which will start around about now. If there's one thing I've learned about English, it's that quite often the simplest words have the most meanings. For example, you have the words hot and cold. In its most common sense, the word hot describes something that is of high temperature. It is holding a high degree of heat. It might be dangerous to touch or drink. Don't go near the stove, it's hot. Can you open a window? It's hot in here. The word hot can be used in other ways too. Something that is popular or fashionable can be described as hot. Something that is in high demand might be described as the hottest thing around. Cycling has become the latest hot health routine. This toy is going to be the hottest item in the shops this Christmas. Something that might generate a lot of interest can be described as hot. We have some new hot properties to show you. As an idiom, something might be too hot to handle. This means that the thing in question should be avoided, or at least handled with care. We can't discuss that topic here, it's too hot to handle for us. In a stressful situation where you are under a lot of pressure, we might say that the heat is on. The heat is on for the sales force to reach their targets. You can feel the heat, which means to be involved in a risky or high-stakes situation. An attractive person might be hot. There were some hot models at this year's fashion show. Heat can be used as a verb to describe the action of introducing heat to something. You must heat the soup before serving it. As a slang word, the word heat can mean the police. As part of a phrase, we can use heat. To do something in the heat of the moment means to act in a spontaneous or unprepared way, normally in reaction to something. You do something in the heat of the moment. A stolen item that is being passed around can be described as hot. I wouldn't buy any jewellery from him, it's all hot. A person who often loses their temper can be described as a hothead. The word cold can also be used in many ways. An unwelcoming response might be described as cold. To be underwhelmed by something can often create a cold response. His performance was greeted with cold silence. The feeling of being repulsed or offended by something can be described as cold. You feel upset and put off by what you saw or heard. His humour throughout the evening left me feeling cold. You can give someone a cold stare. You look at them with disapproval and disdain. As an expression, you might give someone the cold shoulder. To shun someone or to choose to ignore a person directly is to give the cold shoulder. He tried to approach me after dinner, but I gave him the cold shoulder. To make something cold, you need to cool it. The word cool can be used to describe a period in which you can change your mind about something. A cooling off period is often allowed so as to give time for a person to consider what they have done. The holiday booking allows you a cooling off period of 14 days. This means that you have 2 weeks in which to change your mind. You might go off the idea. You cool off. The word cool can be used to describe something that creates excitement or is seen as impressive. Something is cool. That's a cool bike you've got there. For younger people, this particular expression might appear old-fashioned and not cool. During a criminal investigation, an inquiry that has no new leads might be described as having gone cold. An unsolved crime that occurred many years ago can be described as a cold case. A cold thing can also be described as chilled. As an idiom, you can chill out or just chill. To relax and unwind is to chill. I think I'll just stay in tonight and chill in front of the television. General negativity from a person can be described as chilly. My new ideas for the next meeting were met with a chilly response. The phrase come in from the cold means to return to a place or group that had previously rejected you. You are welcome back and forgiven. You have come in from the cold. Can you see what I'm doing here? I'm trying to find something to watch on television. Sometimes it is hard to find something good to watch. I often spend many hours trying to find a decent show to watch. I often flick through the channels in the desperate attempt to find something that catches my eye. You flick through the channels. You flip through the channels. You scan up and down the channels. Many years ago, we used to have to get up and go over to the TV to change the channel. These days, we can use the remote control. This item can cause a lot of annoyance and frustration, as it often gets mislaid. Has anyone seen the TV remote? It was here on the sofa earlier, but now it's gone. The TV remote is used to control all the functions of the television set, including the sound level and picture controls. The sound level is called the volume. You can turn up the volume to increase the sound level, and turn down the volume if the sound level is too high or too loud. In this case, the word volume simply means amount or quantity. The level is the volume which controls the amount of sound coming from the TV. A person who likes flicking through the TV channels can be described as a channel hopper. If a person watches TV all the time, then we might describe them as a telly addict. Telly is another word for a television set. A television can also be called the goggle box. The word goggle refers to a person's eyes staring at the flickering picture, and box refers to the shape of the TV. Although these days many TV sets are actually flat and take up very little space. Television sets come in many different screen sizes, from just a few inches to fit on a small desk, right up to the ones that resemble something you might find in a cinema.
There it was, an excerpt from one of my many lessons, Full English number 34, and you can find all of my lessons on my YouTube channel. There are so many, and guess what? Soon there will be many more. Here he is, everyone. He's back.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Hello, lovely viewers across the globe.
Hello, my good friend, Mr. Steve.
I've got to be just a little warning, Mr. Duncan. We probably should have like a glass screen between us today.
Why? You don't have COVID?
No, I tested myself last night because I had some strange symptoms. I think I've just got a cold coming.
Oh.
A cold, sore throat, runny nose. We should probably have a divide between us to protect you, because you don't want a cold. Mind you, your immune system is much stronger than mine when it comes to colds.
It's a bit late now.
It's a bit late now. We've got ventilation, throughput of air, and I'll sort of talk this way so that my aerosols, as I speak, are going in a different direction.
I don't think we want to know about your aerosols.
No. Well, anyway, Mr. Duncan, I have been watching the live chat, and a lot of people have been complaining about the way you abuse me on a Sunday, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, I received some messages during the week saying you should be a little bit more tolerant of Mr. Steve. Look, can I just say, I'm not going to say anything else bad about Mr. Steve, but you should come here and try living with Mr. Steve for just 1 week, and I tell you, you will be as crazy as me. after a week. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Mr. Steve, it's so good to see you here today because I've received complaints saying, can you please stop teasing Mr. Steve? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say nothing bad today. Whatever you do, whatever strange sounds come out of your body.
Or stupid things that I say.
Yes, all of the things, all of the weird noises that you produce.
But I, Mr. Duncan, already, you say that you're not going to abuse me or tease me, but I've discovered something this morning. I've got a bone to pick with you, Mr. Duncan. If we've got a bone to pick with somebody, it means you've got to discuss something that they've done.
Yes, okay.
That you don't like what they've done, and you're going to have it out with them. You're going to discuss it.
So
you need a bone to pick with them.
You need to have a serious word with
serious talk.
A serious word.
Well, I went to go out into the garden, Mr. Duncan.
Yeah?
And I have some gardening boots. And I put my feet into those gardening boots, and it was full of things. I thought, what on earth is in my gardening boots? Hard lumps. I tipped the boots out, and what did I discover, Mr. Duncan? Lots and lots of peanuts inside my gardening boots.
Okay.
Which I'm guessing you put there as a joke, Mr. Duncan.
No. No, I didn't put there as a joke. I didn't even realise they were there. You know what I think they were?
They were inside my gardening boots. I put my feet in. I thought, what on earth's going on?
Okay, yes. Okay.
You didn't put them there?
I did not put them there. I have a feeling that there is a squirrel that is hiding the nuts because as winter approaches, you find many animals, they will hide food and then they will go back to it later. So I wouldn't be surprised if a squirrel has put those nuts in your boots.
Or a mouse. Could they have accidentally fallen in there when you were carrying the garden food for the birds from the storeroom into the garden?
Yes.
Could they have fallen out, do you think?
Well, I think
it's a mystery.
I think
how do these get inside my gardening shoes?
I think my explanation is funnier. Because we are talking about fun today, by the way, Steve. I know it's something you don't do very often. I know fun.
Every Sunday at around 2:30.
This is fun. I said earlier, this is one of the best things I do each week.
I'm getting very hot, Mr. Duncan. I think it's the cold. It's all sort of, I'm getting a temperature.
So when you say cold, you mean fever?
Fever.
So Steve has a little fever. He's going to mention this a lot today. He might mention this a lot. There is one thing that I will say about Steve. He's not very good when he's ill. He is quite insufferable.
Well, but that's because when I get a cold, like all men, we suffer greatly compared to women when we get colds, and we have to be looked after. Actually, you see, that's a bit of a joke, isn't it? Because women always say when a man gets a cold, women just seem to carry on, and they say that the symptoms that a man gets can't be any worse than they're getting. But in fact, there was a scientific study that showed that men suffer from colds worse than women. The symptoms that they get is to do with, being a man. I don't know the science behind it, but apparently we do. Science has borne out the fact that when a man is really ill with a cold, he is really ill. And as you're the woman, therefore I can suffer. But you don't get colds, do you, Mr. Duncan?
I rarely get ill. I rarely become sick with fever or colds or COVID or anything, really. I don't know why. I have the most amazing immune system. People at the moment, Steve, are getting really angry. Now, we are talking about fun today.
Well,
it would appear that some people have difficulty having fun or seeing the funny side.
Well, I saw that you were talking about war earlier. I thought that's not much fun.
Well, it's Remembrance Sunday.
I know.
Well, that's the reason why. I think I have to criticise you slightly there for that. So a lot of people were talking about that earlier, but we're going to cheer things up in a moment. We are talking about fun, having a fun time. So I want you to think about the most fun you've had in your life. However, some people are angry at the moment, Mr. Steve. There is a TV commercial here in this country for a well-known, I think it's a shop, a well-known supermarket. And a lot of people are complaining because in the advert there is a brief shot of Santa Claus and he has his COVID passport. And a lot of people are really getting angry about this. So this is actually a still. This is a still image from the advert. And the advert is fun. It's a funny advert. It's making fun. It's being light-hearted. So Father Christmas is having to go through all of the things and all of the problems and difficulties that everyone has. So that really is the joke. However, some people don't see the funny side. They think it's a way of the government forcing the COVID passports onto people. So, but it isn't. Can I just say that advert, the advertisement, is actually not for that. I think it's Tesco, by the way.
Yeah, so the government haven't made the video.
No, it's an advert for a supermarket, and there are lots of other funny things as well in the advert.
Oh, well.
Relating to the past 2 years. So sometimes you do have to see the funny side of things.
It's probably Tesco have done this deliberately. But they've probably, because they've had this advert, and you know what it is, if somebody draws attention to something that causes controversy,
yes,
it generates more publicity for that very thing.
It's become normal.
So I wouldn't be surprised if someone in Tesco hasn't created this drama out of nothing in order to promote themselves.
Yes. Well, it won't be Tesco. It'll be their advertisement company.
Yes, exactly.
But it is a thing that happens quite often. But this advert is all light-hearted. So there is another good moment in the advert where people are sitting on an aeroplane and the aeroplane keeps starting and then stopping as if it's trying to take off, and then the rules of COVID keep changing. And it's funny. It made me laugh. It's one of the few adverts at the moment that I'm actually laughing at. So I thought it was funny. It is making fun. It is light-hearted.
People these days just don't have a sense of fun. They don't want to laugh at anything.
I think sometimes people just want to find something to complain about or moan about. Steve?
What, Tomek? And he hasn't retracted the comment yet. Has said that his fun things to do are riding black, crushing a party, getting arrested. I'm not sure what you mean by the first one. Maybe you need to explain what that means.
Yes, it might be a spelling mistake.
It could be.
Yes.
We need to know because, well...
I'm just hoping that riding black is not a slang term for doing something illegal. So, yes, we'll move on from that, Steve.
Crushing a party. So, yes.
Crashing.
Well, yes, it says crush. Oh, crashing a party.
Yes.
Yes, crashing a party.
If you crash a party, it means you go there, but you weren't invited.
If you crush something, it means that you're destroying it. So I thought that's what Tomek meant, that he likes just going to parties and ruining them, destroying them.
Yes.
But no, crash, I think, is probably what you meant to say there.
However, in American English, crushing something means doing it really well. If you crush something, you crushed that race. It means you did it really well.
Really?
You crushed it. You used your own strength to do that thing. You really crushed that meeting. You did it so well. You do it really well.
William said earlier that he saw smoke. And
where was it coming?
Presumably on the backdrop.
Okay, was it coming from Steve's ears?
It's not surprising. Everyone has fires today in their gardens.
Yes, it's winter.
People like to sweep up the leaves and burn them,
Yes.
and create lots of smoke.
Yes.
It's just a thing that men of a certain age, over 60-year-old men, they like to have fires. They like to sweep up the leaves, put them into an incinerator, and create huge amounts of smoke. I mean, I don't know why, because of course at this time of the year, we're in a temperate country, so all the leaves fall off the deciduous trees, and they create a bit of a problem, actually, because they're all over your paths, over your driveway.
Well, that's why people are burning them.
That's it, yes, but they should put them into a compost heap and then let that break down and then put it into the soil in the spring.
I think I might break down in a minute.
Yes, Crusher Party, and exactly. So that's William's seen that. Udon Wanapat
Okay.
from Thailand has been very excited about watching us today. Well, you maybe.
Well,
Probably not me.
He is one of our regular viewers.
I know. He said he's
Regular.
been very excited today. So it's
Yeah.
very nice to have people that are excited to watch us.
Yes. Let's give them something to be excited about, though, by doing something.
I'm just reading some of my notes. Asha says that in India, they are a teacher and they use your lessons in the classroom.
Good. That you are more than welcome to do so. And guess what? There will be some new lessons coming at the end of 2021 and into 2022. I am making some new lessons. I am also going to remake some of my older lessons as well. So I'm going to bring them up to date. So some of the lessons that I feel might be a little bit out of date or old-fashioned, I'm going to update them and I'm going to make some new lessons. What do you think about that?
Am I going to be in them, Mr.
Well,
Duncan?
I will be in them, yes.
No, am I going to be in them?
No.
Me.
No, you won't.
It's amazing what people do when they're watching us. I mean, we know people cook.
Yes.
We know people are doing housework when they're watching us. We've had all sorts of things that people are doing. I think Belarusia is probably putting fillings in as she's watching us.
What's that?
There's
When does a dentist do that? I've never seen a dentist do that.
But we've got somebody at the gym today.
Okay.
We've got Mahir Saeed Mahir, on a vibrating plate in a gym.
Okay.
We've seen these, haven't we? Vibrating plates. They're supposed to get all your muscles going.
They shake everything,
They shake everything, yes.
including your bones.
In northern Somalia.
Okay, then nice to see you. I hope you are having a lovely vibration.
Oh, they wouldn't be able to talk if you were on one of those at the same time. You can't talk if you're on a vibrating plate,
No.
but obviously you can text.
It's very hard to do anything when you're vibrating.
So it's good to know that you're getting fit and learning English at the same time.
Good.
Oh, yes, there we go, says Olga. We have the same problem. Some neighbours like to burn leaves. We had a lot of smoke around. I know. I don't know what it is. I suppose it's going back to sort of ancient times. I'm always going back to
What,
the olden days.
The 1970s.
People just like to burn things, don't they? My mother's the same. She likes burning things.
Yeah.
She used to get like going into the garden and burning things.
Yes.
She's got this thing.
Mainly food.
No, mum's cooking's very good, but she loves a fire. She used to like bonfire night because of the fires. But any excuse to go out and burn something,
She's
mum used to do that when we were younger.
She's not an arsonist, is she?
Well, maybe we ought to look into crimes that occurred back in the 70s and 80s in our area.
In the olden days.
Yes, that's right, definitely.
So people need to have a sense of humour. Sometimes you need to have fun. Sometimes you have to know when to have a laugh or to smile about things. Sometimes you can look at something that might be serious or maybe something a lot of people are concerned about. But I think sometimes you do have to be able to have fun and not take things too seriously all the time. Sometimes you have to have a little bit of fun. Like this, you see. It's fun doing this. By the way, can I just say something, Steve?
Well, it's your show.
We started doing something many years ago. Mr. Steve and myself, we started a trend that has now become a huge thing.
Really?
Do you know what it is?
No.
I was waiting patiently for
You're waiting for a fun, humorous answer.
I was waiting for a fun, humorous answer. Do you remember way back in the mid-1990s when we decided to have a go at Well, you know what happens as you get older? You start to get hair on your body. And sometimes it grows in very strange places where you don't want it. Or maybe sometimes it will grow in places where it should be, but you don't actually want it there. And I am, of course, talking about manscaping. This is the big thing. This is the hottest topic at the moment for men.
Is it fun?
Well, you should know because we started doing it many years ago. We used to
manscaping.
This is where you trim all the body hair.
It's not man-hating.
No, manscaping is...
Manscaping.
I'm telling you what it is now, Steve.
Good, okay.
You're just not listening to me. Manscaping is when you trim your body hair.
Mm-hmm.
But we were doing it way before then, weren't we? We used to trim our chest hair and other hair.
To discuss all this.
No, it's okay. Well, it happens all the time. Here on YouTube, there are lots of adverts and commercials for these devices and these cutting devices that will trim all of the hair on your body that you don't like. And when we are talking about that sort of thing, we are talking about the hair down there, all of that sort of hair.
Wax.
Well, not just wax, not men.
Is an example of something that will remove hair,
yes,
unwanted hair.
But apparently men now are growing hair on their face, but it would appear that men don't want hair anywhere else, and they're trimming and cutting the hair down there.
Yes, I like a well-trimmed man.
But what I'm saying, Steve, is we were doing that years ago. Do you remember that time we went crazy and shaved our legs? Do you remember that?
No, I don't think I was there.
You were?
Well, I mean, when you're younger, you just like to experiment, don't you?
But what I'm saying is everyone does it now.
What, all men do it, do they?
Yes.
Yes, do you remember back in the 70s?
The olden days.
Back in the 70s, if there was ever a film with a man in it, he had an open-neck shirt showing lots of copious amounts of chest hair.
Yes.
Copious, there's a new word.
He had a hairy chest.
Hairy chest, and women used to like to see that, apparently.
Yeah.
That's why Burt Reynolds, people like that, they used to show all their manly chest hair off.
You could only think of one.
Let's have a look. I can only think of Burt Reynolds. I can just picture him now. I don't know why.
How about Charlton Heston?
Charlton Heston.
He was always hairy.
Very hairy.
He had a very hairy chest.
Yes.
Tony Curtis.
That's it.
Apparently, he had a very hairy one.
Roger Moore. I don't know. Roger Moore had a smooth chest. Do you remember?
Did he?
Yes, because he used to take his top off in James Bond.
Did he?
And he had a smooth... Whether he shaved or whether he was naturally like that, I don't know.
I don't know either.
But different cultures, of course.
What?
Men have more hair. Not cultures. In different countries, men have more hair than others,
That's just as
don't
bad,
they?
by the way.
Well, no, because if you tend to go... Chinese men tend to be very smooth, don't they?
That's true.
Yes, but Western men
What?
tend to be very sort of hairy.
Yes.
Have more, I don't know why that is.
But of course, when it comes to taste, some women, some ladies, and some men prefer a hairy body, and some prefer a smooth body. So if a person has lots of hair on their body, they are described as hirsute. It's interesting, that, isn't it?
Hirsute.
Or hirsute.
Or hirsute.
Hirsute.
Yes.
That's an interesting... I love that word. I've got to find out what that means and why we actually have it. So a man who is very hairy is hirsute.
Exactly.
Strange, isn't it, that? It's a very strange word.
Maybe you could say the same for a woman as
what
well.
about-
Hairy
what about-
woman.
Yeah, well, okay.
But I think if the hotter the country, I think, then the people that live in the hot countries, I think, tend to have less hair on their bodies, because that would make sense, because hair is obviously there to insulate you from the cold.
Yes.
So, it would make sense that you wouldn't want peoples who live near the equator wouldn't want lots of body hair, because it would make them hot. But I don't know if I'm wrong about that, but I think generally that could be true.
So Eskimos really should be just big balls of hair.
They should be, yes.
They should have just hair all over their body. and it's all about 5 foot long. The hair, they should be just
Be interesting to know.
They should all look like Captain Caveman.
Well, it would be interesting to know that the women watching today,
Yes, or men.
or some of the men, of course, depending
Yes.
on your persuasion,
Okay.
do you prefer your man to have a hairy chest, hairy legs?
Yes.
Or do you prefer the smooth look? Do you like him to groom? Groom, that means to make yourself look neat and tidy. And do you want a manscape?
Yes. So some men, well, many men, this has become so popular. On YouTube, there is a device for cutting and trimming all of the hair down there. And they use some very explicit and some might say rude words in the adverts as well.
I haven't seen these adverts, Mr. Duncan.
They're everywhere. They're even on TV. They're even on television. The manscaping, anyway, that's what it's called. But I'm just saying that many years ago we were doing it. We were doing it a long time before it was trendy.
I think a lot of men have always been doing it, but they just didn't like to admit it.
Yes. And of
Because if you were to admit to your friends, that you shave, a man was to shave his chest, you'd be ridiculed.
Would you?
Yes,
Oh.
you'd be ridiculed.
Okay.
And made fun of. Oh, well, I won't use the words. You would be. Let's just say that they would suggest that you maybe not be straight.
You do realise that bodybuilders, big muscle men, they actually shave their bodies. Did you know that?
Yes, well, that you
Well,
see, that's acceptable in sport.
Well-
I think runners do as well,
Yes. Well,
because the air resistance, hair on your legs. I mean, I wouldn't stand a chance.
no.
By the way, Christina doesn't like hairy men,
Okay, that's good.
which is good to know.
Well,
We know Christina likes to have fun on skis because I read earlier that Christina, talking about fun, had the most fun she's ever had trying to ski. Fell off lots of times, but then eventually, that's fun, isn't it? Yes.
well, you know my thoughts on skiing on snow. I would never do it because I always hear these horror stories of people who go on holiday for 2 weeks on a skiing holiday, and on the first day they fall and break their leg, and
That's
then
very common.
they have to spend the rest of the holiday with their leg in plaster.
I think this was water skiing. I think I could have been right.
Okay.
But we certainly was it water skiing or normal or skiing on ice? Tomek says he's so hairy he sometimes thinks he's the evolutionary missing link.
Oh,
You mean between Neanderthal man and Homo sapiens?
speak for yourself.
Yes.
If you're going to get personal,
Well,
who are you calling a Homo sapien?
that's all of us, Mr. Duncan. But yes, that's funny. So thank you for that. Some women do have hairy arms and legs.
Yes.
Says Anarchy. I'm happy with my body hair. Says Hacken 737. Sounds like an aeroplane. Sorry, I'm only joking. But yes, exactly. What's wrong with it? Well, it's exactly. I mean, some people see it as more sort of sexy, don't they?
They do.
To be smooth. I don't think I would, maybe I'm wrong, but I would think that most men wouldn't want body hair on. I mean, women tend to get rid of all their hair, don't they? Armpits everywhere. Do women have hair under their arms?
They
I don't
do.
know.
Under their armpits. Yes.
I don't even know.
Of course they do.
Because, I mean, I've never seen a woman with any, presumably because it's always shaved off. So I
Okay.
tend to think, is there any there in the first place?
Well, how many women's armpits have you looked at?
Well, you celebrities in dresses,
Well-
with their arms showing.
Well, what? How can you
Yes.
be that naive? I refuse to
Do
believe.
all women shave their armpits?
Well, many do,
Please
yes.
tell me.
My mum used to always shave her armpits, but she used to use this special stuff called Imac.
Oh, yes.
What do you mean, oh yes?
I've heard of that. I've heard of it. Never used it. Never used it anywhere on my body. No,
How
not
do you
me.
know? How do you know that exists then? If you don't know if women have
I've tried it.
Hairy
Oh,
arms?
yes. My mother used to have it.
Yes. Well, that's what it's for. It's for getting rid of hair on your armpits.
And your breasts. Do you have to get... Is that where you use it on your breasts?
I think it's very rare for women to have hairy breasts.
I'd like to know.
I'd
like to know. Just, just out of intellectual curiosity.
All right, Steve. Steve, I feel as if I have to rope you in slightly here. I don't know what's happening on the live chat, by the way. Some people are deleting messages. Some people are letting the messages come back on.
Thank you, Vitas.
And then someone... No, but there's confusion now because everyone is trying to delete or block someone, but then every time they press, they're bringing the person back.
Oh, right. We always seem to have people crashing into the party.
Good, that's okay. You're allowed to.
It's exciting. We like it.
That's all right, yes.
We like it.
We're not fascists here.
No, anyone can come in.
We welcome everyone.
Feel free to abuse us.
No, well, no. What? Sorry, again, I have to draw the line here. Why would you say that?
I'm only joking. Well, because we don't care, do we?
Okay.
But thank you very much to the moderators.
I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
A fabulous job, as they always do.
All right, Steve, again. I feel like we're repeating last week. Anyway, we're going to take a break. Steve, you have to stop talking now. I'm sorry to be so firm. I did promise to be nice to you. We're going to take a short break, but I thought it would be interesting to take a look at two words that sound very similar but have very different meanings. The words we are going to look at are sip and slurp. So here I am having my lovely Saturday afternoon cup of coffee here in Much Wenlock. Here are two words that are rather interesting but have very different meanings and uses. The words are sip and slurp. Sip and slurp. The word sip is this: to drink something carefully, to drink something with care is to sip. It is seen as refined, posh, sophisticated, and very classy. The other word is slurp. Slurp. And this is what slurping is. I am slurping my coffee. So the next time you are having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, or maybe something cold to drink, remember, you must always sip and not slurp. Ooh, that was fun. I hope you learned something from that. Just look. What are you doing?
I'm slurping my water.
Slurp.
Shall I sip? Daintily. If you sip, yes, exactly.
Yes, well,
we've explained all that.
We just literally had a video doing that, Steve.
Olga says that she was always used to be envious of men.
Oh, okay.
Because they didn't have to bother to get rid of the hair on their bodies. All they had to do was maybe shave here.
Can I just say, no. So, do you know how many problems men have that we never talk about? There are parts of our body that we have to maintain all the time, literally.
But not everybody does.
Well, you don't know what I'm talking about.
Toenails?
No. What? So this is why I tease Mr. Steve, because he just says rubbish. What I'm trying to say is there are things, embarrassing things. So your toenails aren't embarrassing, are they? But things that we have to take care of, sort of down there.
Mr. Duncan, I don't think we want to know.
No, I'm just saying. Men also have things that we have to keep an eye on, and that's it. You see, so we have problems as well. It's just that no one ever talks about them. But any men watching, you know what I'm on about.
Well, I don't. But Olga was just making the point that, there's a lot of maintenance.
Yes.
Women have to do a lot of body maintenance.
Yes, that's what I'm on
and
about.
it's time consuming, but because a lot of men don't bother with any of that, Olga's saying that she's envious because don't have to bother. Most men don't have to bother with shaving armpits, body hair, getting rid of all those little things because, men are men, aren't they? A lot of men, they don't want to be seen as shaving body hair. That would seem as something very wimpy and unmanly to do.
What year are you from?
Well, no, I'm saying it would be.
It isn't.
It would be. I know, but I think it still is in certain,
Where?
certain areas. I don't know. I don't know that all men are shaving now. I don't think they all are.
Male grooming is literally the biggest industry.
Yes, but not everyone is doing it.
Well, no. Okay, Steve.
I think there's only still a relatively small percentage compared to women.
Yes.
Is the point I'm making, Mr. Duncan.
Well, that's it. Well, that's like saying more women breastfeed than men.
It's not.
Well,
See, you're being nasty to me, Mr. Duncan.
I'm not.
You'll get
I'm just making a relevant point.
Well, the point I'm making is that I would say probably 95% of women are maintaining getting rid of a lot of body hair, but I would say probably only, 10, 15% of men are doing it. I don't think it's all men, is it?
No.
We've got plenty of people on here that aren't.
10%. It's official, everyone. 10%.
It's just a guess. And I think different cultures, it will be different in different cultures as well. It will either be acceptable or not acceptable.
Okay, but I think these days, in Western society then, just to please Mr. Steve, grooming of the male body has become a big thing.
Oh, yes. Oh, I agree with you, Mr. Duncan. It has been.
Okay.
There are a lot of products for men to get, but I'm
not arguing with you, Steve.
I just don't think that many do it yet. Not like a lot.
Okay.
Tom Rock says that it's hygienic to get rid of body hair. Well, yeah.
That's it.
I think it probably is. I would agree with that.
Yes, I always associate people that are very hairy with sweaty. I don't, even if I see a hairy person from far away, I would just assume that they must have they must sweat quite a lot. You see, it's quite strange, isn't it? But it's probably not even true.
I think some people got accidentally blocked.
I have no idea, though. I can't control that.
We're not. So apologies if somebody got blocked.
But I didn't block anyone.
I know. I think there were some accidents.
I might actually stop having moderators completely, because this seems to be causing more problems than it's actually solving.
Anyway, everyone's back now, so that's well. If anyone thinks that somebody has been accidentally blocked and hasn't come back, then please let us know, and please try and unblock them.
If you've been blocked, can you please write to? Oh no, you can't, because we've blocked you. See?
But I think Flower's back. I think.
I need to cough. Where there, Steve? I need to cough just for a moment. That's better. Nobody heard that. Don't worry.
I did.
Well, we don't really care about that.
Magdalena says, I need much more time in the bathroom than my husband. And I think so. I think women spend more time generally in the bathroom than I think they do. Well, you don't spend much time in the bathroom. Oh, Mr. Duncan. Mr. Duncan's getting angry.
Wow, you are really, you are sailing on thin ice.
Well, I spend quite a lot of time in the bathroom.
I don't care about the bathroom. What about the other stuff you do?
What other stuff?
Yes. Like putting toilet paper on the seat before you go for a poop.
Okay, right, let's move on.
Or anything else in that department, Steve, I could mention?
I don't think we need to get personal. We're just talking about body hair.
You've just been personal to me.
Well, I'm just talking about the amount. I'm just sticking to the subject, which is
yes. Well, I'm going
personal maintenance in the bathroom, shaving body hair.
Yes.
Trimming eyebrows, maybe.
Shrinking piles.
Hair in your ears. Some people like to get rid of that.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you for saying that I don't wash.
I didn't say that, Mr. Duncan.
No.
I was referring to body...
How little time I spend in the bathroom.
Yes, it was a joke. It was a joke.
You didn't say it like a joke.
I thought we were having fun today.
I thought you didn't say it like a joke. That's great.
Oh, this is an interesting turn of events.
You really... Yesterday, by the way, I was filming that little bit.
Oh, right.
And I coughed. I choked slightly on my coffee. And Steve started thinking, oh, that's not right. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's bad, that is. That's really bad, whatever that is.
That's interesting.
It's nothing.
Saturino says, you still going on about that? Saturino says, until the 1970s, half the women in Italy didn't shave their armpits.
Yes. Well, I was going to mention that. I didn't get a chance to get that word in edgeways, but some women don't, as culture, you see. So that's why you were mentioning cultures earlier. Well, cultures don't grow hair. The hair grows anyway. So it's more about race when you think about it.
Well, I did correct it later on, didn't I?
Well, you said countries, which also isn't a race.
I was just... I talked about people living in hotter countries.
Yes.
But anyway, yes, I do, Raphael. I do trim my eyebrows. I trim them because otherwise, as you get older, eyebrow hair in men gets longer and longer and longer, and if you don't do something about it, it looks a bit silly. You have to do something.
I heard you were going to grow them really long, Steve, and just comb them over your head.
Well, I could do, yes. It's like ear hair.
That's it. The gloves are off now.
You have to trim hair in your ear, otherwise, when you get to about 70, it's sticking out all over the place.
Yes, I can see already.
Shall I go away, Mr. Duncan, and come back?
No, it's okay.
I seem to have upset you, Mr. Duncan. I'm not quite sure why. It was just a joke.
Can I, just for the record, can I just say I said today I was going to be really nice to Steve, and I was. And then, but Steve started attacking me for no reason.
I didn't attack you. I just made a joke. Anyway, we need to remain professional, Mr. Duncan. So shall we move on?
I'm being my usual self. And you should be very worried about that.
I'm a sick man today, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, you're a sick man normally, every day.
Do you know, I'm going to go, and I'm going to come back in about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Steve has gone for a moment, but he will be back, don't worry. Mr. Steve will be back in a few moments. And that is how you have some fun. Ooh, I hope you enjoyed that. We are talking about words and phrases connected to having fun and having a good time. Would you like to see some? Here we go. Having fun. I think sometimes in life it is very easy to stop having fun. I think sometimes it is very easy to forget that sometimes having fun is a good thing. The word fun describes the action or the appearance of enjoyment. If you are enjoying something, if you are having a good time, then you might say that you are having fun. The word fun describes the action or the appearance of enjoyment. You are enjoying what you are doing. You are having lots of fun. Here's another one. A moment of fun or a fun moment. So you can have a moment of fun or you can have a fun moment. The appearance of enjoying something. So maybe you can see another person is actually having a good time. And you will think, oh, I can see that person is actually having fun. They are having a fun time. A source of joy or amusement is fun. Something you are doing that is fun, something that you are doing that creates amusement. Maybe it makes you smile, maybe it makes you laugh. You feel uplifted by it. You think that thing is amusing. It is a source of joy. The enjoyment experience. The enjoyment experience at a particular moment can be described as fun. The enjoyment experienced at a particular moment can be described as having fun. A pleasant experience shared with another person can be described as fun. So you can have fun with another person. Like myself and Mr. Steve. We always have lots of fun here every Sunday on the live stream, except for when Steve has a fever. So Mr. Steve at the moment is in the bathroom and he's gargling his throat because it's feeling very sensitive. It was fun spending time with you. I had fun chatting with you on the phone. So any experience that is fun, any experience that is fun to take part in can be described as a fun time, or it can be described as fun. It was fun seeing you yesterday. It was fun spending time with you. I had fun chatting with you on the phone. A recreational activity or hobby might be described as a fun pastime. So quite often we will do something in our spare time. We will do something in our spare time that gives us pleasure. A recreational activity or hobby might be described as a fun pastime, something you enjoy doing in your spare time. Some people enjoy playing sport. Some people enjoy taking exercise. It is a pastime, maybe a hobby that they enjoy. They have fun doing it. You might ask someone what they do for fun as a way of making small talk. So you can ask someone what they enjoy doing in their spare time or as a hobby. What do you do for fun? What do you do for fun? You are actually asking a person what they do for recreation, or maybe what they do in their spare time. What do you do to amuse yourself? Quite often we will use that phrase. We often join fun with excitement when talking about enjoyable things. So things you enjoy, things you not like, things you enjoy doing can be described as fun. Please can you tell Mr. Steve to drink some lemon tea? Well, I think at the moment Steve is doing just that. I think he is doing something to relieve his discomfort. And let's face it, he's having a lot today. To let yourself go and be spontaneous can be described as having fun. So maybe if you do something that is a thing that you enjoy doing or something that helps you to relax can be described as having fun. I learn English for fun, says Valam. Hello, Valam. Nice to see you here today. I always like to learn English, and that is how I have fun. Good. Well, learning should always be fun. As I always say, learning should be a fun experience. It should be something you enjoy doing. Something interesting or informative might be described as fun, such as learning new words, maybe learning new forms of the English language can be interesting and fun. Here are some fun facts about dinosaurs. So maybe a person has some information, some fun information, something that might be interesting, something that might be fun to talk about. Here are some fun facts about dinosaurs. So quite often, fun facts are things that might be seen as fun, interesting. Here are some fun facts. A jolly or humorous person might be described as fun. A person who is fun, a person who likes to have fun might be described as a humorous person, a jolly person, a fun person. They are fun to have around. They are fun to be with. For example, my Uncle Vic was always fun to be around. And I do remember my Uncle Vic, sadly no longer here, but he was a member of my family, my uncle, my father's brother, and he was always humorous, witty, jolly. He always had a little joke. He always had something funny to say. I don't know why. I think in my family, a sense of humour is something that exists. Some people might say that you need to have a sense of humour to be in my family. The word fun appeared in Middle English and is derived from the word fun, which meant joker or fool. So that's how we get the word fun. It came from the word fun, which is of unknown origin. We don't know where that actually comes from. But originally it meant fool, a foolish person. To have fun is to relax and enjoy an experience. If you have fun, it means you are doing something that is fun. It is a good thing to do. It is enjoyable. You are having a nice time doing it. The expression fun and games can be used in many ways. Fun and games. If you are having fun and games, it means you are having a good time. You are having fun and games. You are having a good time. Maybe a party. You might say that a party is a place where you might have a fun time with fun and games. We can use fun and games in more than one way. A joyous time can be a fun time. There will be lots of fun and games at the party. However, there is also another way of using this phrase as well. We can also say a chaotic and disorderly time where a lot of things are happening. Maybe you have a very stressful day at work. Lots of things are going on around you. It was all fun and games at work yesterday. Lots of things were going on. Lots of things were happening. Here's another one. You might poke fun at someone. You might poke fun at another person. If you poke fun at someone, it means you are making fun of them. You are deriding that person. You are saying things to make that person feel foolish. You are poking fun at someone. You are making fun of them. You are being sarcastic towards them, or you are saying things to make that person look foolish. You are poking fun at them. We can ask a person, how do you get your kicks? I like this, by the way. This is a very interesting phrase. How do you get your kicks? How do you have your fun? How do you get pleasure from life? What are the things in life that you do that give you amusement? They make you feel happy. How do you get your kicks? And I suppose I could also ask the question, what do you do for fun? What was the most fun you've ever had? What do you do for fun? So when you are looking for something to do that amuses you or gives you some sort of pleasure, it can be something simple like eating a cake. I have to be honest with you. When I think of fun, I often think of eating food, if I was honest with you. Saturina says, yes, fun and games is what leaders of the world have just had in Roma and also Glasgow. They've had a beautiful holiday paid for by the citizens. They've had fun and games. They've had a very enjoyable time during COP26. And what was the outcome? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Flower Espoir. Hello, Flower. Flower says, dancing helps me to have fun. I think you're right, actually. I think having fun can come in all sorts of forms. Having some physical exercise. And of course, dancing is physical exercise. And they do say that if you have exercise, if you go for a run or a walk, it can make you feel better. It can make you feel good. So there are many ways of expressing fun, having a fun time. Christina says, I have fun and games with you, Mr. Duncan. That's very kind of you to say. I hope today is fun, even though poor Mr. Steve is not feeling very well. And that's why he's had to go and clear his throat, unfortunately. I thought I was having problems today with my throat, but poor Mr. Steve is not very well today. Valentin, the longest fun I've ever had is watching Mr. Duncan's lessons. Oh, I see. I'm not looking for your nice comments, by the way. I'm not looking for flattery. So don't worry, it doesn't have to be related to me. It can be related to anything. I suppose there are people in our lives, there are certain people that we often have fun with when we are with them. I don't know why, but there are certain people, certain friends, or maybe a certain member of your family, someone who, when you are with them, you actually have a really good time. And you can't explain why. It just seems sometimes when you are together with a certain person, you have lots of fun. Raphael says, Sleepy Joe was having a lot of fun during COP26. Well, he was having a lot of nice dreams. I think that is fair to say, definitely. So yes, what do you do to have fun? What pastimes, what hobbies, what activities do you do for fun? I suppose one of the things I enjoy doing is finding out about new technology or working out how to use a piece of technology. So even though sometimes it can be stressful, it can also be fun. So maybe if I buy a new device or a new computer or a new thing that I have to use, the first thing I have to do is learn how to use it or learn how to operate it correctly. And to be honest with you, I do find that quite fun. It is actually a lot of fun doing it like that. I'm going to see if Mr. Steve is all right in a moment because I don't think he's feeling very well today for various reasons. Oh, William says, I play cricket for fun. Yes, I think a lot of people get pleasure from playing sport. So I would say it's fair. It's fair to say that these days a lot of people do like doing that. They like playing sport. Maybe they play a game by themselves. They do something on their own. Thank you very much for your lovely messages. Learning English in the UK is really fun, says Tom. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Please don't keep giving me compliments because my head will start to swell up. It really will. I will be going in a moment, but I will be back with you on Wednesday. Don't forget, I am back on Wednesday from 2 p.m. UK time. I will be back with you on Wednesday. The usual time, it is always 2 p.m. UK time. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to be busy having some fun making new lessons. So I'm going to start looking at some of my old lessons that I made years ago, and I'm going to rewrite some of those lessons and remake them. And also there will be some new lessons as well that I've never made before, or maybe topics that I've never talked about before. And let's face it, let's be honest, there are so many topics, so many things to talk about. I think so. There was a famous movie, a German movie called Funny Games. Yes, if there are funny games going on, maybe there is something suspicious happening. So yes, if you say there are some funny games going on, or maybe you might say there is something funny going on over there, something strange or suspicious, something that you need to look closely at. What's going on over there? There's something funny going on over there in the corner of the room. What could it be? Ooh, very intriguing. Saturino says, when I was a kid during the night, I would have fun staying out on my balcony and I would search the sky for UFOs with my telescope. But my mother would get angry. That would often be the case. Parents would always want their children to be in bed by a certain time. I remember when I was a kid. When I was a kid, my parents used to send me to bed very early, and especially during the summer months when it was still light outside. And they would send you to bed at 9 o'clock or 9:30. But the problem was it was still light outside because during the summer months, the days here are incredibly long. So we would still have daylight, even though it was late at night, which was very strange. Mr. Duncan, what is a UFO? A UFO is unidentified flying object. Basically, it's something that you see in the sky, but you don't know what it is. Maybe there is a light going across the sky. Maybe there is something going by. Maybe you see something flying in a strange way above your head. You don't know what it is. So quite often we will say that that thing is an unidentified flying object. Unidentified. It means you don't know what it is. So if something is unidentified, it means you can't name that thing. You don't know what it is. It is unidentified. Christina says it's very fun to discover a new foreign country. I think it's fun to meet people or talk to people from other countries and other cultures because you can learn lots of things. Some people don't like to do that. Some people think that's a bad thing. Others embrace the experience of travelling and meeting new people. I suppose that's one of the reasons why I like doing this, because you get a chance to meet lots of people that you would not otherwise meet. So it's been very nice. Hello, Caesar Atlantico. Hello, it's been a long time. Hi, everyone. Hello, Caesar. It seems like a very long time since I last saw you here. Nice to see you back. Of course, today we are talking about having fun, having a fun time. And I suppose there are many ways of having fun, especially if you are into sport. Sometimes Mr. Steve and myself, we like to go out into the garden and we like to play some sport to have fun. And there we were in the garden having a little bit of fun with a ball. It is amazing how simple things can give you so much pleasure. And there is the view today. It's getting dark already. Yes, as autumn works its way across the UK, you can see now already it's starting to get dark, because the autumn weather and also the short days have arrived, and in just a few minutes it will start to get dark. I don't like that, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if I like it when it gets dark early. Some people hate it. Some people do not like it at all. Raphael says, I have fun when I am playing soccer with a volleyball and wearing sandals. Playing on the beach is fun. Being in a place where you don't normally spend time. So maybe if you go to the beach, you might spend time having some fun by the sea, like Mr. Steve and myself earlier, when we were building our sandcastles. Something like that, you see. I will be going in a moment. I'm going to tend to Mr. Steve to make sure that he is all right. And I will see you on Wednesday. Thank you very much for your company. I hope you've enjoyed this. I have to now go and be a nursemaid for Mr. Steve to make sure that he's feeling well and happy. Thanks for your company. I hope today has been fun, even though my voice is starting to fade away. So maybe I have already caught Mr. Steve's fever. Who knows? See you on Wednesday from 2 p.m. UK time. And until the next time we meet here on YouTube, I hope you stay safe, stay happy, take care of yourself, please. And I will be back with you on Wednesday. Flower says we really need shades of sun these days to have some fun in. Well, I suppose you can make your own fun. I suppose there are ways of doing it. I suppose there are ways of finding your own personal joy and fun. This is Mr. Duncan for the final time saying thanks for watching. See you on Wednesday. And of course, on behalf of Mr. Steve and also myself, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now.